Announcements today before we get started, and I hand you back over to Coach Monica. Please help us keep the noise levels to a minimum. If you're not interacting on the call, make sure your line is muted. You can use the mute button on your phone if you have one, or you can hit *6 to mute, and then you hit *6 to unmute when you want to ask questions or you have a comment. If you're on a cell phone or you put us on the speakerphone, please keep yourself muted, as no matter what you do, it makes an extremely loud echo for us, and we can hear all of your background noise. Please don't put us on hold, otherwise we will be listening to your hold music. Also, a heads up, we can see everyone's line that is dialed into this call and how much feedback is coming from it. If you forget to mute yourself and you're creating too much feedback, I will mute you. I prefer not to, as once you're muted from my side, you're muted for the rest of the call without an option to interact or ask any questions of Monica. All right, Monica, they're all yours.
Well, thank you, and happy holidays, everyone, and thanks to the great Stephanie. And today's Stephanie's birthday, so happy birthday to Stephanie. All right, working away on your birthday, always a fun thing to do. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
everyone, we are on call number 17, and guess what? Breaking up is hard to do because next week is our last call. Be sure you don't miss that. There's some great things coming up on last call. So. And if you have a few questions, be sure you email me so I make sure I cover them. It's monica@hellerteam.com. I'm happy to answer your questions. In fact, I have someone who asked a question, and I'll call on her in just a little bit. So be ready with your question. All right.
Yes, Monica, excuse me. I'm having a very hard time hearing you, even with my volume turned up.
Okay, let me take my headset off. All right.
Okay.
Is this better?
Thank you.
Is this better?
Much better, thank you.
Okay, good. I don't know what's wrong with well, I know what's wrong. I can't wear that headset. Thank you for the reminder. I can't wear that headset when there's a lot of people on the call. For some reason, it mutes out. Okay, so here we are on call number 17. And so today our objectives are very simple. You know, we're going to analyze your customer service and think about that. We're going to set expectations with the client because they have certain expectations. MMF5, make me feel important. We're going to talk about that. Define a raving fan, policy and procedures manual, corrective action report, and a 90-day review. How exciting. So *6 to mute, *6 to unmute. Okay, we're going to move on. So I'm on page 3 now, and so how do you rate your customer service on a 1 to 10? Seriously, how would you rate that? What is your repeat and referral percentage? Are you getting at least 35% past client center of influence, repeat and referral business? What should your repeat and referral percentage be? It is going to be 35%. That is a good model to follow. What is the value of each client? We've always talked about the phone's the cash register, gang. And if your average commission is $5,000, when that phone rings, it's $5,000 potential, but also times 3 leads, 3 referrals, 3 leads from them in 3 years. That could be $15,000, and some of you have higher commissions than that. Does your team have a mission statement, a vision statement? I'm going to share ours with you. We do it every year. We redo it, and we sit together for 2 hours, and we talk about it, and we brainstorm ideas. What improvements can you make from the suggestions you've learned in the previous courses? So we're going to talk a little bit about where your business is going now and what you can do to change that. Now, page 4. I want to share with you, this is, I coached Chris Heller for many years. And he sent out this letter to his team many years ago when I was coaching him, and I said, you sent that out? Oh, my gosh. Okay, what was the response? So I'm going to read just a little bit of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because it's important. This is a letter that you can put in your meeting tab, so you can have a meeting about this and talk about this so people understand this. Team. We had a seller cancel after being listed with us for 1 week, and there was not one thing they said that I did not disagree with. I'm embarrassed, disappointed, and not happy. Just so we are clear, and most of you have heard this before, when a client hires us, they have done so because they want the best, and they expect just that. Their expectations are extremely high, and rightfully so. At that point, their confidence is at its highest, and our job is to keep it there by doing what we say we do and communicating often and clearly. You see, a little thing like a sign not showing up when they were told it would be there causes them to question whether we are too busy or whether they are even important to us. It is a sign to us, yet it is everything is a big deal to them. This process of selling is the biggest thing going on in their lives. We need to treat it that way. When our sales partners go see their homes within 5 days like they were told, their confidence in us goes down. When the write-up or photos are not world-class, we lose credibility. When the client sends an email to the entire team with information that is important to them and us, and not a single person has the common courtesy or common sense to reply, what does it say? I know it doesn't scream, you are important, we care about you, you chose the right agency. I hope that every person reading this is bothered by it, because if not, then you should be looking whether you are up to being on the best team in San Diego. Please be honest with yourself and with me, and if you are who I think you are, then take this as a valuable lesson. We just paid $24,000 for it, and learn and realize how important customer service is. So that we can all focus, learn, and remember, I want each of you to take a minute, reply to this email with a sentence or two on your definition of customer service. Now, it's just assigned to the client, but the perception was we didn't care. The perception was you were not important. Maybe our house isn't expensive enough for you. Maybe we're just not, you're not interested. Maybe we're not even a house you even like. So with that said, obviously the question there that you want to ask people when you have an office meeting is, so what is our definition of customer service? Do we understand how important that sign is to them and the little things that we say we're going to do, we need to do? So that was lesson number 1. And then on my watch, we got lesson number 2. And so basically on this particular one, and I won't read this one because it was long and tedious, that this was a couple that we sold their house and we sold them another house simultaneously. We screwed up some of the dates, and these two people were both project managers in companies, and so a project manager always has details, conversations noted, things said noted. So every time we called them, they wrote out a spreadsheet on us. Every time we said something we were going to do, it went in the spreadsheet, and then in red it went if we did it or we didn't do it. And so not only goofing up the closing dates, but we'll call you about this, and then we'd call them like 2 days later, or we'll find out about this. And then one of the cases that they called in on their property under contract, and they said, well, that agent that wrote that contract is with Keller Williams. And my escrow person, who's no longer with us, said, no, you're wrong. They're with Coldwell Banker. And the gal on the seller goes, I think you need to look at the contract. So when we tell somebody no, and then we go, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry about that. You're right. I just have so many contracts, I just can't keep them all straight. Oh my gosh, talk about a red flag. So I'm giving you examples that are not extreme. They've happened, and they may have happened to you or a similar situation. So just imagine if you had everyone documenting everything you said, and documenting you when you said, I'll call you back this afternoon at 2, or I'll call you back tomorrow morning. You need to be aware that somebody along in your world is going to come and document everything, and it's going to come back at you. Just a thought, all right? So we basically had a meeting with them for 90 excruciating minutes, and they brought their spreadsheets, and both of them had their computers up, and they said, and you said this, and you didn't do this, and you said this, and this didn't happen, and then you said this, and that didn't happen, and you did. I had to listen to 90 minutes of that, and all I could say is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So the bottom line is that you have to understand what's going on with people. So if you'll turn to page 8, this is where we're going to have a little interaction too. So when somebody lists their house, and the door closes, what do you think they're saying to themselves? Somebody jump in. What are they feeling? What are they feeling?
This is Kathy from Allentown. I think they're feeling, oh my God, did I just...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Speak up.
Oh, sorry. This is Kathy from Allentown.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that they're saying, oh my God, did I do the right thing? Did I sign with the right person? Is this going to work?
Oh, exactly. That's number 1. Did I do the right thing? Because there's always some doubt. So that's number 1, Kathy. You're absolutely right. So they're feeling like, I hope I did the right thing. I think I did the right thing. Did I do the right thing? Well, we'll find out. We will find out if we did the right thing by what happens next. So I just listed my house. What's another seller's perception? What else are they feeling? Come on, guys, got to participate.
This is Donna from KW Experience in Barrie.
Thank you, Donna.
And I would say that what they're asking is, when is the first showing going to be? When am I going to get an offer?
Okay, so so what they're feeling is they know they're in the unknown. They know nothing. We told them they're going to sell their house, but we told them we don't know what price. We told them we're going to sell their house, but we didn't give them a date. We said there's going to be showings, but we don't know. So that's they're living in the unknown. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Great. Okay, good. All right, the next one you want to write down is that they're confused, and they're going, oh, gosh, I hope we did the right thing. What's next? What do we do next? Okay, when is somebody going to call? So they're confused. Then you can write down they're anxious. So far, nothing positive here. And they can be happy and sad. They're happy they're selling, or they're sad they're selling, or they're sad they're selling, but their kids are unhappy. Their kids are happy they're selling, or vice versa, whatever. So there's a lot of different things, unknown confusion going on. All right? Now, I just signed a contract and my house is sold. So here, once again, they're anxious. We told them it's sold, but it's not really sold until all the inspections are done. There's a contingency period. They're confused as to the closing date. Have you ever had a seller who understood the closing date? Because that closing date can move a little bit. Okay? They also feel they gave their house away. Very few times did they feel that they didn't give their house away. And then the other one is that they are, they're under unbelievable stress. Okay, unbelievable stress. Why are they under unbelievable stress? Because we told them to pack, but don't pack too hard yet. You're moving, but don't moving. Oh, by the way, put a deposit on that apartment, but remember, if it doesn't go through because the contingencies or the home inspection, you may lose your deposit. Oh, my gosh. Or don't, you can run around and buy a house, but it's got to be contingent upon this selling, so don't make plans on moving yet. Don't hire a moving company until you know for sure. And the list just goes on. I just signed a contract and my house is sold. I'm anxious, confused. I gave my house away. I'm under unbelievable stress. Now, there's some other things, obviously, and you can think through it, too, is that, when you look at the pressure that they're under, to pack or not pack, to move to not, what are we doing, and all the logistics and everything. So there's a lot of logistics to this. Oh, and back up on seller's perception, clean my house perfect every day and hope somebody comes. All right, buyer perception. My offer just got accepted. Number one, buyer remorse. Paid too much. Oh, they accepted my offer? Oh, I probably paid too much. Oh, my gosh, okay. Buyer perception. Did I do the right thing? Again, did I do the right thing? So as you guys are seeing right now, there's nothing really positive about this. So we're the calm in the eye of the storm. We as great assistants are the people that hold their hands and lead them through this maze, Buyers are confused. They're unsure. They don't know what's next. There's a lot of pressure from them, from lenders, et cetera, to get this done and do that. So you have to understand this is not always a happy situation. And if it's happy, it can turn on you in any second. Okay, got a lot to cover, kind of mixing things in here a little bit. All right, so switch gears now, and on page 9, it's feedback questions for a cooperating buyer agent. I personally do not believe in the internet services where you email an agent and say, go online and fill out this questionnaire. I think the personal contact is better with that agent. I think the personal contact and calling the seller and giving them the information is the best way to do it. It takes a little bit more time, but it's called customer service. Sometimes when I'm talking to an agent, I can find out why they're not writing an offer, but then I can say, well, what about this property? Or I know of a property coming on that I have. Or I can say, well, what about this situation? Would they make an offer if we could fix that? So, here's the script. Good morning, John. This is Stephanie with Chris Heller's office. May I ask you 3 questions about the showing on Blank Mountain at 3 o'clock yesterday? We appreciate your feedback and showing our listing. So, number 1 question, would your client like to buy the home at blank blank that you showed on this? No, they're not going to write an offer. Okay, Great, thank you for that. What would it take for your buyers to want to make an offer? Well, it'd have to have a much bigger backyard. We just really weren't aware that the backyard was so small. They've got great big dogs, whatever. Okay. We value your opinion. At what price do you think the property will sell? Now, that's what a seller needs to know. You tell them the truth and you give them those answers. Is your client going to write an offer? No. So you say to the seller that the agent said that the buyer is not interested in making an offer. They felt that the yard was way too small for their needs. So it was one of those things. And the agent felt that the price was about $10,000 too high. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth, okay? All right, now on page 10, switching gears again, critique your customer service. Now, that questionnaire is total customer service. Again, those internet services, to me, you don't have that interaction. So, all right, so these are great points to go over with your agent regarding your customer service experience and how to increase repeat and referral, okay? So these conversations should be on a quarterly basis. So one of the things that I think you have to look at is, do you have a scheduled marketing plan for this year coming up? What is your customer for life plan? How many are currently in your database? You should have 1,000 people with emails and phone numbers, okay? So number 5, write down how many emails do you have, all right? You need to know how many you have in your database. Number 6, do you say thank you for working with our team? We appreciate your business on every call. If not, get started doing that. Everybody loves to hear thank you. Number 7, do you use the agent's name on every call and email? Make sure you're not using, I did this for you, I found this out, I got this handled, I took care of this. We. You cannot use the I word when you have a team. Take that out of your vocabulary. Always keep the agent's name up front. Keep the branding. All right. Number 8, do you use call, email, call? So when people are under stress, you call them with the information, you email them, you call them the next day, and you say, did you get that information? Does that sound right? So call, email, call. And then on number 9, MMFI, make me feel important. And a thing on make me feel important, if you want to write this down, is 5 calls as soon as you get a new listing each day for 5 days, 5 calls for each new pending for the first 5 days. That's making them feel important. That's the definition of that. And then number 10, do you get 100% of your critiques back? Do you get 100% of your critiques back? And if not, why not? Because they're simple to get back if you just put them at the company where they're closing. Some of you close by title, some close by escrow, whatever. Just put them at that company. All right, so here's an action plan. You need 1,000 clients in your database, COIs, clients, etc. You need to post your scripts. By the way, thanks for working with our team. We really appreciate your business. Is there anything else I can do to help your day? That's the Disneyland script, so hopefully you're using that. You have to identify the client's personality style. Like I said to you before, if they speak French, speak French. If they speak driver, speak driver. You know, a whiteboard of your current clients posted, so when a name comes across, it says, hi, this is John Smith. I'm calling about, my property. You go, oh, Mr. Smith, of course, you're calling about your property on Elm Street. I've got your file right here. How can I help you today? If you have a lot of incoming calls, you're not doing a good job of communicating in outgoing calls. The Disneyland close. Thank you for working with the team, blank team. We really appreciate your business. Is there anything else I can do to help your day? I cannot say that enough about how great that is for you guys to do that. All right, page 11. These are team customer service tips. And so it's a great team meeting to have. So, for example, under promise and over deliver on number 4. So if somebody says to you, I need to know about this, you go, great, I'll get back to you by 3 o'clock today. Call them by noon and say, I wanted to make you a top priority. I found the information. So that makes people feel good, And so look at each one of these and then talk. This is another form for you to put in your meetings. So under your tab, these are meetings to talk about customer service. The better your customer service is, the more repeat and referral business you're going to get. All right, I'm going to go through this pretty quick. Like I said, we've got a big section here. Page 13, important words in customer service. Always be prepared to say, I'm so sorry, I apologize. And even if it's not your mistake, the customer is right. And some of you will have a hard time with that, but you're going to have to learn, I am so sorry. I apologize that that happened. Now, you didn't have anything to do with the problem, but you're going to apologize. I am so sorry that happened. I am so sorry. I apologize for that. You've got to learn to say those things. It diffuses someone immediately. You know, the 9 most important words. Thank you for your business. You know, we hope to see you again. Come back again. Or thanks for your business. I can't wait to help you again. You know, let me check and I'll find out. What else may I do for you today? You know, how else can I help your day? How may I help you? I mean, these are just great ways to continue a conversation with someone where you're coming from contribution. You're coming from the help mode. So on page 14, glad you're here. Thanks for coming into the office. How'd we do, on these critiques? And thank you. And yes, of course, is always the best word that people like to hear. Yes, we can do that. Yes, I'll make sure that happens. So yes is where people really love to hear. All right, I'm going to stop in just a couple minutes, but I want to keep going through just a little bit more. So in your systems, you're going to have a tab that says Customer Service, obviously. And on one of the tabs there, Customer Service, you could put a Client for Life system in there, and or you could put this under Communication, too. So if you have a Communication tab, you could put it there, wherever you're going to organize this. The key is to have an organized policy and procedures manual that makes sense. So you may put it in different spots. That's fine, but put it somewhere. So what is your communication checklist? All right, so inner client information and database, thank you for talking with me letter, thank you for listing with me letter, affiliate letter sent, assistant letter and introduction call, copy of MLS, we've talked about these things, website, email, new CMA sent every 2 weeks, schedule weekly calls, congratulations in escrow letter, countdown to close letter, congratulations on closing, congratulations on moving in. So these are all letters that are in ways to communicate with people. Then in my opinion, there's no such thing as over-communicating. After close communication checklist, we've talked about a lot of these anniversary letters, closing statements, happy holiday call number 5. Great thing. You as great assistants, just start calling all the clients that you helped this year and say, I just wanted to say, for example, use your agent's name. Chris Heller and I were talking, and I wanted to make sure we called you, and we wanted to wish you a happy holidays. So you say, Chris, want to make sure I called you and wish you a happy holidays. We're so excited you worked with us this year. How's everything going? Take a few minutes each day and make some holiday calls. And we've talked about all these before, 4 mailings a year, 12 emails. These are the key things. All right, page 17. Okay, let me take a breath here. Anyone have a question for me? Any questions about any of that? All right.
It's Donna.
Yes.
It's Donna
yes.
from Barrie in Canada.
Excellent.
Hi. I just wanted to ask you about your comment about sending a new CMA every 2 weeks. I am wondering if you have a tried and true follow-up system for CMAs and
yes.
how this 2-week new CMA
Yes,
works.
Okay. So it's in your honeymoon checklist that on week 2 we tell them that a new CMA is coming. And, me as the agent would look at it, and then I'd review it. I get a copy, and then I'd make the call next week. So we send it, and then the agent or the assistant, if you're doing the price reductions, then you would call them with that. So there's a lot of assistants around that will make the price reduction call. The CMA is going out for a price reduction. And even if they're the lowest price per square foot, nothing new has come on the market, that you just know, and we've given you all the price reduction scripts, you just know to say, basically, your home's been on the market for 21 days, we've had 6 showings and no offers. The market clearly is telling us that we need to change the price. And they'll say, well, we're the lowest price on the market. And you said, yes, but we're still not getting any offers. They're going into other areas to buy property, so we have to compete with the other areas. So the CMA has to be sent, but the agent or the assistant has to follow up the next week. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Now, what if they haven't listed with us? Do you have a system for that?
Well, I wouldn't send them a CMA unless they requested it.
Right, because where I see that we fall down is our agent goes out on the call, they do the CMA, and then it's the follow-up afterwards. Sometimes they're going to list in a couple of months, sometimes it's immediate.
Oh, no. Okay, good. Okay, great. You sent me the email, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, okay, good. And I said, that's a great call. Okay, so great. All right, now I got it. Okay, I got to switch gear in there. Okay, so this is a great question. That's why I wanted you to bring it up. Okay, so the agent goes out on a listing appointment and takes a CMA out there and goes through the whole listing appointment. Now what's the follow-up? Okay, never send out a new CMA because the market changes and you don't want to annoy them if it goes down. However, the follow-up is this. The agent, but you as a great assistant, gets the file and you stay in control of the file. And then every Monday, you give that file to the agent and say, call the client, call the client, call the client. Once they've called the client, you take the file back. Then you take it back to them on Monday or whatever day it is, and you say, call the client. You have to stay in control of it and monitor the agent to make the call. Why? Because their lead follow-up isn't so great. Now, they may come back to the office and say, they're going to do something in the next week, so I need to call them, like every day or every other day. Then the agent would keep the file, but you as a great assistant could say, did you make that call? Did you make that call? So the agent needs accountability, and there has to be a system. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And my concern is giving the file to the agent and not getting it back.
Okay, then you give the file to the agent, and then you say, per Monica's training, you'll call them on Monday, and I will pick up the file at 5 o'clock from you on your desk, and you have to have checked it off that you have made the call to them. So you'll need to put a little, staple something to the front of the file with a date, every Monday's date where they check off and they said left a message or call. So you need some accountability that it was done. And then obviously you should say, thank you for meeting with me letter needs to go out. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Usually I send just a card with my business card in it. I appreciate, speaking to you about selling your home. I look forward to talking to you in the future. So there's always a follow-up call, and there's always a follow-up little thank you note that goes out, but then the file has to go to the desk. So you have to become a nag. I'm sorry. You have to become a nag about it and say, it's my job. You need to call them on Mondays, and then I need to pick your file up at 5 and put it back in the drawer. And if they haven't done it, then you nag them on Tuesday and say, can you call these people right now? I want to put the file away. And you just stand there while they call them. Horrible, isn't it?
So they're the only person who can call. The agent is not the...
Yes, because they built the relationship. You should not be involved in doing any follow-up calls because you didn't meet them. Because all of a sudden they're going to think they got pawned off on someone. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's how the competition goes. Oh my gosh, wonder why the agent didn't call me. Here it is, their assistant called them, and I don't even know who their assistant is. Or this person called, I don't even know who that is. The agent goes on the appointment. The agent does the follow-up on the appointment. There's no other way to get around that. And the way I look at it, if your average commission is $10,000, that agent better be happy to make those follow-up calls because remember this, 70% of all deals come from lead follow-up. 70%. You don't follow up, you're not going to get the deal. It's the way it goes. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. It's Amy from Lisa Pimentel's office. I have a question for you. What is the best way to keep the leads? Is it in Top Producer? Is it paper file, scan them in? What do you think the best way is to keep the leads?
Well, which leads are we talking about? Because there's internet leads, sign leads. What leads are we talking about?
Any follow-up leads that we have.
Well, two different categories. Buyer leads go into a spreadsheet with the source, the time that they came in. We just put it on an Excel spreadsheet because they come from everywhere. We have internet, we have radio, we have referrals, we have sign calls, we have open houses. I mean, we have 10 sources of buyer leads. So that's in a spreadsheet, okay? When it comes to listing leads, you know, the agent should have a system for that. So if they go out on an appointment, they don't take that appointment. You as the assistant should be involved in helping them get those appointments converted to contracts. And then as far as, you know, there's no one set lead system. We've created a bunch of Excel spreadsheets, and that's what we do with the sources of where it came from.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you. All right, and then a lot of people are using Google Docs and put it on there, then everybody can see, so that's another good system. All right, page 17, client referral system. Make sure the agent is the person who calls and says, thank you for the great referral, especially if it is a person that is, you know, a client or past client, okay? So be sure that that is happening, all right? Then send flowers to the office. I always think that's always great when a referral comes in. Whether you convert it or not, people go, hey, why'd you get flowers? You know, and the whole system here is written out for you to take a look at. But when somebody sends you a referral, you need to acknowledge that. Now, if the referral didn't come to fruition for whatever reason, the agent still needs to call and say, hey, thanks for that great lead. You know, I'm working with Bill and Joni. They've got a couple things they've got to resolve, and then they're going to be good to go as great buyers. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Who else do you know? Bottom line is Bill and Joni cannot buy a house in the rest of their lifetime. They've declared bankruptcy. They've got this going on. They've got that going on. They don't have jobs, whatever it is. But you want to make that person feel good that they took the time, because all of a sudden, if you say something negative about some referral that was given to them, they're going to start second-guessing and go, well, I don't want to waste their time again. I don't know if they're good or not. I'm not going to say anything. No. Now, you know, on page 17, I want you to take a look at, too, where it says customer marketing plan, 4 mailings per year, 4 phone calls. It should be 12 emails. We send out a minimum of 12 emails, and we send out 2 holiday cards. We send out Thanksgiving, and we send out Christmas. I mean, it's so important to do that. And then to make sure that your agent knows who are the top 25, who are the very, very best clients that your agent has. All right, here's your closing statement letter. I knew you'd be looking for this. Hopefully all of you are doing this. This has been around for a million years. I know that I was doing it in the 80s, sending out closing statements, and so you want to adopt the orphan buyer. We've talked about that, the buyer who brought your listing, and you want to send that out to them also. So we always get 2 copies of the HUD statement. Anniversary letter on the anniversary of their date on page 19, self-explanatory. Page 20. Mission, vision, values, belief, and perspective. So, MVVBP. Okay, so we did this as a group, and it took us about 2 hours to do it. We all talked about what our mission was, what our vision was, the values that we have, beliefs, and perspective. And this is a very important exercise to do, whether you're an agent and an assistant, or you have a large team. This is a great thing to do so we all have the same mission. All right, page 21. Okay, so what we want to look at here is the importance of an office policy and procedures manual, which is the ultimate thing that hopefully you guys have been building on. You know, it's a detailed book of business, a record of policy, defines policy and procedures, defines your job as an assistant. The reference manual sets job expectations. Should include the mission statement, company profile, employment, compensation, benefit leaves, office systems. You know, like I said, you know, someone, which was great, this class, I said, get a box and collect everything in it. And one assistant said, well, I prefer not to just throw it into a box. I prefer to have files on each one. I go, great. Organize it before it, you know, don't throw it in a box. That's great. However you want to do it, start collecting what you have. What letters do you use consistently? Do you have a consistent email going out? Do you have scripts that you're using? Do you have checklists? Start compiling what you have. And there are, 6 really important steps in maintaining a policy and procedures manual. And the key thing about, maintaining these things is, number one is you have to have a review. So they should be reviewed, in my opinion, at least once a quarter. Okay. Second thing I would write down is that you write down CANI, which is constant and never-ending improvement. Okay. The next one is delegate. So if you have a team and one person's listing, one person's closing, you got a buyer team and they send out emails or they do this on marketing or whatever they're doing, delegate to other people to bring to the table what they have, right? And then you want to make it safe. So these binders have to be in a safe place. I've heard too many times where they just disappear, and I've had so many people say to me, well, could you just photocopy your policy and procedures manual or scan it or send me what you have? And I go, I really can't. I said one reason is that it's proprietary information. And the second thing is that it took us many years to build this. And third, everybody's business is different, and you'll just not understand some of the things we do. So what I'm trying to say is keep it safe. And number 5, it's confidential. You do not share it with other agents. You do not take other agents out of the learning curve. I understand the Keller Williams way. I get all that. However, this is a book of confidential, safe, restrictive information. Do not share. I just try to make that clear with everybody. Then I think the number 6 thing, the most important thing, procedure to remember when maintaining this office policy and procedure is to make sure that it has the most current information. So if you do something with an email that's sent out to clients and you got 5 or 6 responses, print that email off. You got 5 or 6 responses. People said, come list me. We're thinking about selling our house. Print off that email. Keep a copy of that email so that you have an ongoing record of success. Page 22, personnel policy manual acknowledgement. Bottom line is I agree that I cannot, under any circumstance, copy or distribute without permission from this manual could be considered intellectual property confidential to blank company. Page 23, the same thing. 24, corrective action report. If you have to have a corrective action with someone, give them a warning about what they're doing and just get them on the straight and narrow. I'm a firm believer you don't fire people over their first offense. You have a conversation. You need to document it, though, and say, please don't do that again. This is our expectations. Page 25, 90-day evaluation period. So, unfortunately, most of you on this call would say to me that you absolutely do not get a 90-day evaluation. And to me, that I know I get it. I've done the same thing. I get busy, and it's like, oh, man, I've got to do that, and I don't get around to it. And so you need to, as an assistant, take the ball and say, I would really like to have an evaluation, a 90-day evaluation. And you say, it's really important for me to have a 90-day evaluation. And if you guys really pay attention to a couple of things on the 90-day evaluation, you always want to hear what you're doing right, and you always want to figure out what you're doing wrong. Not wrong, but what needs to be improved is what I'd say. You want to know what needs to be improved. And so those are really, really important. Okay? All right, turn the page here, and let's move on to the next page, and that is the 90-day evaluation form. So you guys can really look at this on a 1 to 10. The employee completes assignments and tasks as requested, handles customers in a professional manner, handles all incoming calls professionally, arrives at work on time and prepared for the day, satisfactory attendance, follows company policy and procedures, takes initiative, handles all paperwork, independent problem solver, works well with others, keeps the agent on schedule, manages office systems. So some of these, take a look at it. You may want to expand on it. You may want to improve it. You want to make it better. Whatever it is that this is a great start for you to put one together. Because remember, what's so great about these classes is I give you a blueprint, and if you don't like it and you go, well, that's dumb, I wouldn't do that, or I would change it like this, good. At least I got you thinking. Good. Think. And what I want you to do is constantly be looking at the possibility of how do you make this better? How does this apply to us? How do we make sure that this is exactly what we want too? All right? So I may not have the end-all answer to everything, but I certainly hope that I've given you some things that you can work off of and not have to reinvent the wheel too hard. So page 27, I had a lot of requests saying, can you tell me what tabs you're suggesting? So this is just a sample of some of the tabs, and you can break these out even harder than this. Job descriptions, schedules, pre-list package, website, customer service letters, lead generation, expired FSBO, team meetings, we talked about that today. Buyer package, talked about that today. Assistant scripts, buyer agent scripts, phone etiquette, listing systems, database, closing systems, whiteboards, number tracking, goals, marketing, communication, personality styles. You know, another one that's missing on here is the hiring process. You know, we gave you a bunch of information on the hiring process. So you can add more, and so let me open it up because I want everyone to have a pretty good list today. What else would somebody add as they've been putting tabs together? Is there any other tabs that you added or broke out? So I'll open it up for some conversation. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know if they're talking in the background or I can't hear that, Stephanie. What's a tab suggestion? What am I missing on here? Am I the only one on the call today?
Hi, Monica. This is Gina Malone from Long Island, New York.
Thanks, Gina, for saving me. You gave me a lifeline. I was sinking here. Okay. What would you add in any of those on the procedures?
Short sale procedures.
Ah, short sales, of course, of course. How quickly I forget. We went through a whole system on that. Are you having some short sales in your area still?
Yeah, we still have a lot. Not as many, but still a pretty significant amount.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely a short sales. Absolutely. So hopefully that package was good for you to look at what we do. Good.
Yes, thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you for that. Who else would add something? What else have I missed here? Anybody breaking it out differently?
I don't know if I'm missing it, Monica. It's Andrea from Ocean City, New Jersey.
Yes.
Am I missing the hiring procedures? You went through a whole section of that as well.
Yeah, I just added that at the bottom. I wrote down hiring process. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, I did forget that on this one. Yeah, I did forget that. Have you broken this out any differently?
You know, I have to customize it according to the team that I'm with right now. We only have people, so there are a lot of it I'm going to include, and some of it I just don't think it will service us at this time. But as we grow, it definitely will. So it's a great, as you said, your words, blueprint to start with, and as we grow as well.
There you go. Exactly. Okay, good. So those are the procedures now, and then remember, policies are days off, and I'm going to just say to you guys, if you don't have your days off clear and the paid holidays and the your vacation days, it has to be written and clearly stated. Make sure you understand what happens if you get jury duty. What happens if you have sick days? I mean, do you have sick days? I mean, get all of that cleared up. Have it written down. Do not leave it for chance. I have a clear policy, when it comes to, Christmas Eve, we're going to close at 12 o'clock. New Year's Eve, we're going to close at 12 o'clock. And, yes, we start working the next day after that. If you want the day off, you have to request it. So we're very, very clear about that. So hopefully that, makes sense for everybody, too, that you have to be very clear about these policies. And if you're working on a team now and you're not sure what's going to happen on Christmas Eve, ask your agent. Some agents stay open till 3 or 4 o'clock. Some close at noon like I do. So you have to understand it's your job, too, to be clear about what is going to happen. So I'm going to give you guys the power to have those conversations. Okay, so you always need to have some sort of a way that, you shut the door at night and that there's a security things that you do and things that, lock up your policy and procedures manual. And now the files are backed up all the time, I know, by automated and things like that, so it's not so prevalent anymore like we had to back up all the time and we'd lose stuff. And you got to make sure you have your login sequences on everyone and all their passwords on if you have a big team, et cetera, like that. So, with that said, the key thing about everything that you're doing right now is that just getting back so we're really clear. Once this policy and procedures book is built, this is valuable. Basically, your agent paid $1,200 for the course, $200 a month, and basically this has, when you look at the agent's time in the business and what they know and what you're specifically building and the time that you're paid there, these are extremely valuable. And I'm just going to say to you, please do not share it with anyone. Do not let anybody borrow it for an hour or two, and don't leave it out where people can see it and say, hey, what is that? I'd love to look at that. I'm all about, coming from contribution and helping, but this is personal. And it's just like opening up your bank account to people. That's not something that you personally should or would want to do to anybody. All right, so with that said, great group. Okay, call number 17. So the tab suggestions on the last page is going to be customer service, okay? And then you already have tabs in, of course, the meeting tab. And then you already have tabs on listing, like, for example, calling and getting the feedback on the buyer showings. That's such a great thing to do. If you're not doing that, I highly recommend you do that. You know what? I forgot a page here, didn't I? I forgot something. Where is my... Is that it? Is that all you guys have? Did I forget anything? Nope, I took out that implementation thing. We're good, right? We're on page 29, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Good. All right, great. Okay, so what's the number one idea that somebody got out of today that's going to help their business go forward with their great team in this great holiday time? What's the number one idea? What'd you hear today that's going to make a difference?
Monica?
Yes.
This is Tracy from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Ah, Tracy from Cincinnati, and you are very cold.
Yes, we are. We had a snow day today for my kids.
Oh,
so
my
very
goodness.
Cold.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
boy. Okay, good. So thank you, Tracy, for speaking up. I love that. So what did you get out of today's call?
Well, I think that we've talked about it before, but I will tell you that the one thing I've really learned a lot from the whole class was the follow-up letters, both from a standpoint of sending a thank you for the listings that didn't take, but also just follow-through letters for every facet. But that's definitely something that I've taken.
Yeah, and thank you. I wrote down follow-up letters, and then I'm going to also say Dove, whatever, I'm behind you on this, and I'm going to say the other thing that's so great is to send out, you guys write this down, send out a thank you letter to all the agents who wrote offers on your properties, successfully or not successfully. So we can pull that up pretty quickly in our system, but think about getting a letter saying, thank you for writing an offer on one of our properties. We'll look forward to working with you next year. So I gave you guys that letter. Remember that letter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a great letter to send out to agents as a follow-up. Get them to love working with you. Good idea. Thank you so much from Cincinnati, freezing cold. Who's got number 2 idea?
Hey, Monica, this is Janine calling from 5 Star Spokane in Spokane, Washington.
Oh, hi, Janine. I've been to Spokane. That is a beautiful city. Beautiful.
Thanks. We love it here, too. Thank you. And
yeah.
let me also say thanks for this class. I've just loved it.
Good. We got another great one next week, but what did you get out of today, Miss Spokane?
I love the feedback questions for agents or for showings. This is something that I work really, really hard on and compile all of my feedback for a weekly seller report that we do here in our office.
Good.
And this is just so much more direct and to the point, and it just makes so much sense. This is the exact information that our sellers are seeking. And
exactly. And so I am so glad, Ms. Spokane. I was hoping somebody got that today, and you did. And now hopefully more will.
I'm printing this off, and it's going up on the wall right behind me here. This is just fabulous. So,
yeah, and here's the thing. Print it off and then make like 10 or 15 copies so that when you're writing in the answers, then you can put it in the file too, or you put it on your spreadsheet, then you're fine there. But those questions are so simple. Is your client going to write an offer? You know, you just say, I've got 3 really simple, quick questions. Thanks for showing the property. May I ask you, is your client writing an offer? No. May I ask you what it would take for them to write an offer? Well, it'd have to move the house. They hate the neighborhood. Okay, great. May I ask you what price you think it's going to sell for? Those are the 3 most important questions. You don't need to know anything else.
Yep, you're right. We don't care what they think of the hot pink bedroom in the back basement at all.
No, and I don't want to try to convince them to go convince their buyer that they could strip the wallpaper, they could paint this, but, you know, if they're not going to buy it, they're not going to buy it. Let's move on, right?
Love it. Thank you.
Good. All right, thank you. Okay, number 3 idea. Who's got number 3 today?
Monica, it's Elizabeth from Kansas City.
Thank you.
I really like the $24,000 lesson. I think that, you know, when it comes to us doing our daily activities, to us it's just another activity, but to the client, it's really important, and I think we often don't think how important it is. And, you know, you think, well, I'll get to that later, but to them, you know, it may not cost us the sale every time, but it does cost us the trust with the client.
It so does. It so does. And so, you know, I got caught in that because that second letter, you know, happened to me with this Marty and what's his name, Bill couple. And these guys were 2, you know, project managers that detail every conversation and every word in their business. And so what I'm saying to you guys, it can happen to you. It happened to me. It can happen to you. And, man, when they spit back what we did and said, and I had to sit there for an hour and a half and say I'm sorry to everything, I wanted to just, I mean, I can't even tell you how bad it was. It was bad. You know,
I can only imagine.
It was so bad. It was just torturous. But you know what? I am grateful to them to take the time to come beat me up because it absolutely cemented some things that we absolutely were slipping because we were so busy and we were taking things for granted. And so it was a great wake-up call. So those are great, you know, 2 letters like that to look at and to really ask your team, you know, are we doing these things too? What can we do differently? Let's make sure this doesn't happen to us. So good. I'm glad you like it. And the sign is a big deal. And when you say you're going to call, it is a big deal because they are paying attention. Good. Okay, so your homework, gang, is to keep working on your policy and procedures manual. You know what you need to do. The agent was told to expect to see something, so let me give you a little hint. The call last week, I told them that you would have something by the end of next week that they should be looking at and reviewing, encouraging you to work further on it, that it wouldn't be completely done. So I told them it wasn't going to be done, but you need to at least buy the manual, buy the tabs if you haven't done that, and hopefully I'm pretty sure most of you analyticals were way ahead of that part of the game. So any last-minute questions for me before I let you go, before we have our last call next week? Well, with that, all right, great group. I'm Monica Reynolds. I thank you so much. Happy holiday time for you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being on this call and all your contributions. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.